Hi, Robin. And your residence, sir?
Yes, I'm a resident of Wheatfield. I live at 7027 Whitmer Road. I live right next to the open field. There's a couple things I'd like to ask or find out if can be done. For the last 7 years I've lived there, I've always took care of the grass on the field side, which is getting pretty high. The reason I do that is because we have fleas and ticks and deer ticks, and I have mosquito Joe in every 21 days spraying my lawn. Well, my backyard is so wet, I can't ride my riding lawnmower back there because I sink in. And there's still water in the ditch, but it's not draining to the road. At my house, whoever dug the ditch did not make it so it would drain towards the road. So all the water is stuck back there between the woods and my open field. Want to know if somebody could cut that grass on the field side? Maybe the highway department, because I do see them over there cutting like in front of the stop sign, but they never come back in my area. And now with these fleas and the ticks and stuff, it's dangerous.
You talked to the highway superintendent?
I have not.
Yeah. And who owns the property where this ditch is?
You?
Pardon me?
Town of Wheatfield?
Town of Wheatfield property?
Yes.
This is the very end where the subdivision is?
Started.
Okay. And Tim, maybe we talked about redoing that ditch, correct? This would be at the very south end of that project?
Not in my area. On the back behind the woods they may have done it, but nothing near mine. It's between my house and the road. It can't drain. It all stays behind me. And I can't even put drainage from my backyard into that ditch because it won't go anywhere.
What I would suggest, and Paul's at his son's graduation tonight, I'm sorry he's not here, but if you would give Paul a call at the highway department.
Okay.
And
they dug it out about 3 years ago.
But maybe I can meet him or give him a call and tell me you were at the meeting last night. And we'd like him to come out and look at it. And if you don't get any results, get back to me.
Well, I don't think they can even get an excavator over there right now because it's so wet.
Yeah, but I mean,
once it dries out, if he just dug out from like my house to the street, all that water would run away, and I wouldn't have so many bugs. I wouldn't have mosquitoes. Well, like I said, they did it once about 3 years ago, but I've been cutting the grass with my weed whacker from the woods all the way up to the road. But since you guys are selling it, I don't want to do it. Somebody else is going to do it.
You know, if you would call Paul and maybe if you would get a chance to talk to him tomorrow, just in brief about this tonight. And again, they're not going to be able to get in there now anyway. And I think anybody that's living in the town of Wheatfield realize how wet it is right now.
I mean, I was trying to cut my grass on Sunday, and all I got are big ruts. My tractor got stuck. I pushed the thing more than I was able to cut the grass. Finally, I ended up just leaving it, and I weed whacked everything down because I couldn't. And as I'm walking, I'm sinking in. But I'm thinking about putting ditches in to drain it, but if it drains to the ditch, I won't go anywhere.
Right.
So it's just, it's a mess.
Give Paul a call and tell him you're at the meeting last night.
I will tomorrow.
And what I'll do is I'll go out there with him and take a look at it. And are you available during the day at all or not?
I work from 8 to 4:30.
Okay. But let us take a look at it, and then we'll get back to you. And make sure
you can see where the water stops, and like all the tree roots are there. Yeah. I don't care about the roots. If they could just get the water to go out towards the road, it would certainly make it a lot better. And I won't have so many bugs, and I'm still going to have a mosquito Joe out there. But like I said, I've always done it. Now with the holiday coming up, I'd like it done so I could, but I don't know if it's going to get possible. It's not that possible to do.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get in there until it dries up for sure.
I think he's talking about side yard, not surface.
Yeah, but that's side yard. He's the last house, correct?
He's
Yes.
talking about side yard, right?
Yes.
But see, we're not planning.
No.
Yeah, that ditch is going to be cleaned and rebuilt.
Side yard.
Also, the sheriff's been out stopping the people that are running that stop sign over on Whitmer. I went over and talked to him, and he says that he's catching a lot of people, and he thinks that possibly they don't see the signs. Either could we put fluorescent orange on them so they see those stop signs, or put signs up that say, you know, stop sign ahead?
Well, we could probably do something like that, but as far as changing a sign that is, it's already a sign that's permitted or legal in New York State, I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something, whether they can put a flasher on it or stop ahead sign, possibly.
Well, even if they just put some type of fluorescent, I watch these cars just go right through there
Oh, I
at
know.
40
I
miles an
saw
hour.
three go. I was there 10 minutes and 3 cars ran the stop
Yeah,
sign.
yeah. Now that the sheriff's been there, he's been reinforcing it a lot.
Yeah,
but,
I know. I appreciate
he said he goes, do you know who is running these stop signs? And I'm like, you know, people that are illegal. And he says, no, your neighbors.
We went through the same thing on Wild Wing, where we asked them to write tickets, and the guy was complaining every day. People, and they were all his neighbors.
Exactly, that's
Same
what's
thing.
going on. That's what he told me
So to say
too.
they didn't see the stop sign,
Well,
I
I'll
doubt
tell you,
that
I
very
live
much.
there, and sometimes I'm looking somewhere else, I don't see that stop sign. But if they had the fluorescent orange or green or something on the poles, it would certainly make you more aware of it.
Yep. I don't know if that's something we can do. I'll have to speak with the highway.
I don't either,
superintendent.
but it's a suggestion. That's all I had to say.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you. Anybody else? For the record, all members are present. Approval of the minutes, May 6, 2019.
So moved.
Have a motion. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Excuse me. Bill payment of May 20th, 2019. Voucher number 201-90695 to 201-90804 with a total amount of $269,258.51.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Department head Paul Siegman is at his son's graduation tonight. Yes. Oh. Okay. You know what? We have a no. I would just do it if you do it now. Give your report now because we have something going at the end of the meeting. We're gonna. Okay. Sorry about that. That's okay.
We weren't as excited about this as I was anticipating you'd be. But hello, everyone. What we're doing tonight is having a hopefully very brief public information meeting about our annual report. This annual report summarizes the minimum control measures of our stormwater management plan that we are obliged to meet as part of our MS4 permit. The reporting period is from March 10th of 2018 through March 9th of 2019, and our final report is due by June 1st. So our stormwater management plan is comprised of 6 minimum control measures. We call them MCMs. The first one is public education and outreach. The second one is public involvement and participation. The third is illicit discharge detection and elimination. The fourth is construction site stormwater runoff control. The fifth is post-construction stormwater management. And the sixth is stormwater management for municipal operations. So the first control measure is actually one that we get a lot done through our membership with the Western New York Stormwater Coalition. They put together ads and presentations and have various programs like our rain barrel program that they just recently did and had to pick up here at Town Hall. So a lot of that work is done for that minimum control measure by the Stormwater Coalition. The town adds in a couple times a year that we have our stormwater kiosk, which you can see that in some of the display materials that are out in the front hall. Our minimum control measure 2 is also done a lot by the Stormwater Coalition for public involvement and participation. The town supplements that by having our annual Boy Scout cleanup on Liberty Drive. That's a great public participation measure. Minimum control measure 3 is the illicit discharge detection and elimination. And this is basically done by the Stormwater Management Officer, Lou Anastasi. We have a certain amount of our mapped outfalls that he goes and looks at during the summer each year when it's dry weather. So he looks to see if there's water coming out of a pipe and it hasn't rained in a week, then it's something that may not supposed to be running out of the pipe and into our ditches. So he'll go and hunt that down. This year we actually had 2 illicit discharges that Lou found and was able to eliminate. Number 4 is our monitoring it's construction site stormwater control. This is basically monitoring sites during construction that we have in town, reviewing stormwater pollution prevention plans and construction plans before they go to construction. We've reviewed 6 stormwater pollution prevention plans in that previous period, and the town had 13 active construction sites, and each one of those sites were inspected over 10 times by the stormwater management officer. He also issued through the town 3 stop work orders on different projects. Minimum control measure 5 is the post-construction stormwater management. This is where we maintain an inventory of stormwater practices that we have in the town. At last count, we had approximately 63 practices, most of them being the wet retention ponds that you see in subdivisions around town. So those are on a list that get inspected periodically, and if maintenance is required, Lou works with the highway superintendent to get that maintenance done. Bless you. The last measure, stormwater management for municipal operations. This is basically at our municipal facilities that are within the MS4 area, so the highway department, the water sewer department, and the town hall complex here. This is addressed by doing municipal assessments. Our crew have done assessments on the facilities and checking out their best management practices that they're achieving. There's also a lot of things for this that the highway department does. They inspected and cleaned 41 catch basins in the last marking period, and swept with a street sweeper approximately 52 lane miles of road throughout the year. So those are basically our 6 minimum control measures, and kind of a summary of what we did last year. Each year we kind of, depending on the number of outfalls, are trying to inspect 20% a year so that we can have a goal of every 5 years inspecting all of the inventory. So, are there any questions on that?
You know, Tim, while you're up there, do you want to go right into your report? Are you ready?
Sure. First.
We knew it was your plan all along. Huh?
Well, the only thing we have on our agenda is our planning board report from our last session, and actually there were 3 meetings since our last summary, but the first meeting of that on April 17, there were no agenda items. The second meeting was on May 1st, and on that agenda was the final plat for Whitmer Road subdivision. The planning board actually at this meeting recommended that the final plat proceed to the town board to complete the subdivision approval process. No other action was taken, and that eventually would go to the town board and get approved at the last board meeting. The next item was a sketch plan for potential rezoning at 2872 Lockport Road. The applicant visited the planning board to discuss the possibility of rezoning a lot at 2872 Lockport Road. This is the lot on the southeast corner of Lockport Road and Ward Road. The lot is currently zoned R1, but the applicant wishes to rezone the lot to RC, which is restricted commercial. The properties on the 4 corners of this intersection are shown as RC on the zoning master plan map in the town's comprehensive plan. The planning board advised the applicant that zoning changes are approved through the town board, and they should file a rezoning application with the town board through the clerk's office if they wish to proceed. The applicant was also advised to review the setbacks which would be required for redeveloping this lot under the RC zoning and verify that the actual buildable area was sufficient for them. No action was required or taken. The third item was a sketch plan for apartments at 2821 Niagara Falls Boulevard. The applicant proposes to construct 18 standalone residential units with 2 to 4 unit apartment buildings each on the existing lot at 2821 Niagara Falls Boulevard. This is, the apartments would actually be built on the north side of the lot, which is behind the Days Inn. The Days Inn is on the same lot, so it's the area that's behind them. The applicant was advised of several concerns with development in this area, including potential federal wetlands, floodplains, access agreements, and travel and access from Niagara Falls Boulevard across Sawyer Creek. Most importantly, the applicant was advised that recent changes to the Niagara Falls Boulevard Overlay District do not allow residential uses in the overlay. So I think they're going back to the drawing board. No action was required or taken. That was the second meeting. The third meeting was on May 15th, and there were 2 items on that agenda. The first item, we had National Vacuum corporate headquarters come back in. They're looking to modify their site plan that was previously approved in September of 2018. They brought us a revised sketch of their plan, which would reconfigure and reduce parking in associated impervious area. They were advised to complete revisions to their full site plan package for the planning board review, including revisions to photometrics, grading and drainage calculations, and their stormwater pollution prevention plan. No action was taken. The last item was a sketch plan for the Barge Brewery. The applicant proposes to open a new restaurant in the existing building at 2469 Niagara Road, that's the meeting place, and convert the existing adjacent garage into a microbrewery. The brewery would be for the sole purpose of supporting the restaurant and would not provide off-site sales. The restaurant would employ up to 20 people, while the brewery would employ 3 to 4 people. The applicant was advised of several items to include and address on their formal site plan whenever they decided to submit that, including investigation of building code requirements, accessibility requirements, and parking. No action was required or taken. And that is our last 3 meetings. Are there any questions on any of those? I believe somebody was asking about that brewery at, I think, our last board meeting, and it finally did come in for a sketch. A sketch plan is really just that. It could be a drawing on the back of a piece of paper of what their idea is going forward, and they're advised on things to take into account as they proceed.
There was a question about, I got a call about a variance being applied for the brewery itself. Was that any discussion on that at all?
None at all.
Related
What was the variance
to a zoning issue? No?
No.
Okay.
I was not aware of hearing any of that at the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I have no questions. Anybody else? Okay.
I know they
Just today or since it
like
was in?
right now, 3 seconds ago.
Really? Okay.
Tried rebooting once. I know they did another
I'll
upgrade.
sneak and peek. No, everything is working fine from our end.
So you're
Yeah.
on this morning?
It may be the URL might have changed a little bit. So if you're using a different one, I'll look at your computer after
I'm
the
using
meeting.
the old URL. Is there a new URL? You don't have to answer.
I'll check yes, we can do that. Should be working. Okay.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Paul Siegman again is at a graduation. Rich Donner, water superintendent. How you doing, Rich?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good.
Update for the town board. Billing software is going to be updated tomorrow and the next day for our water meter for water billing program. A guy will be in from out of town, and a couple days, 1 day of training with the office staff, 1 day of training with the field staff, and we should be up and running with it. It's a lot better transparency with the meter reading. We'll actually be able to go in once we install some of the new meters and be able to print out a graph of what the customers used and what their highest peaks were and when they're using more water. So if they have a leak, we'll be able to show them on a graph exactly when their leak was and when it was fixed or repaired. So technology at its finest. Also, with the summer help coming in now, we'll be out maintaining the grinder units, and you'll see us out on the roads flushing hydrants and servicing them also. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Mike Rinaldi, Recreation Director. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. How are you? I was talking to Tom before the meeting, and he promised that we turned a corner with the weather this year. And I hope he's right. Had to cancel men's league games last Friday. We simply just couldn't cut the outfields. Like, our skinned fields were actually perfect. About as good conditions. They weren't too hard, they weren't too soft. They were perfect condition. We actually had standing water in the outfields, and I still, to this day, haven't cut 3. Just can't get on it with a mower. I play outfield. I wasn't interested in doing that. But we did get T-ball and coach pitch in on Saturday, so that was nice to get that going because the little kids they had a ball out there. It was fun. Opening day for them. We've cut the cul-de-sacs a couple times already, so some of the residents should be happy about that. We got the cemetery in Indicon cut a couple times as well. Haven't been able to touch Legion, Lions Club, Mario, Beish. Matt, thank you for your timely sale of Ontario Drive in Timber Lakes. That was clutch. But other than that, we're kind of just plugging along. We haven't touched Adams yet either. We got half of St. Johnsburg cut with the push mower on Friday. We'll hopefully get some of that closer seems like the closer we get to Kruger, the wetter it is. But like Rich said, summer help's coming in, so it's kind of all hands on deck, and we're just going to get her done when we can. That's all I got.
Anybody have anything for Mike? I just want to take a second, Mike, to thank you for your help with the rain barrels and the
Oh, no
compost
problem.
bins. Greatly appreciated.
The ones we have at the park, who's picking those up?
Well,
Do you want me to? Am I taking care
you
of
know
that?
what? No, Mary's going to stop.
Okay.
And because those are rain barrels that were ordered from people that we ran short on.
Okay.
So she's going to separate them and put them together. I know 3 of those are coming to the town of Wheatfield.
Well, let me know if she needs a hand.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I had mentioned that you would maybe help lay them over for her.
Sure.
So, but she'll be contacting you. But again, thank you for your effort. We had a crew over here moving rain barrels around and really helped out a lot placing them here in front of the town hall. So thank you for your
You're
efforts.
welcome.
Greatly appreciated. Mike Clark, building inspector. Hi, Mike.
Good evening, guys. How are you doing? Actually, I don't have anything tonight, other than I will say the comments about not be able to cut grass and not be able to get on their lawns. I've been trying to be fair for people, not hitting them up with the grass violations, but we've been, we do attempt to try to keep that going.
Yeah.
So be patient. If your neighbor isn't cutting his grass and it's soaked, you understand everybody else is running the same thing.
I actually buried my lawnmower for the first time ever yesterday. And I always go through there, and I got stuck. I had to get pulled out. So, it's wet. It certainly
There you
is.
go. Yeah, if anybody's got anything for me.
This year we're working on the census, and we turned in last summer, Doris and Petersdorf and Don D. and myself, we worked on doing all our address point updates.
Right.
And the census isn't until April 1st of 2020, but there's a lot of preparatory work. I mean, a couple meetings ago you heard that Wendell and our town attorney had to get an annexation re-annexed and make sure the federal government knew about it. Well, there's another form that we have to fill out. I need to put myself down and Doris down as being people that are going to be working on this. But we get one last opportunity to put new construction. Any building permits since March 1st of 2018, we get to, and we tried adding some of them that maybe weren't officially there yet, but we tried to sneak them in because we knew there was going to be a house there eventually.
Right.
But just to let you know that Doris is going to be working with you probably in September, because this paperwork that I have to turn into the feds has to be in before June 14th. And then somewhere around September, and they don't give you an exact date, they just say September, but when we receive it, we have 45 days, and that's it. We have 45 days to go through and add any new building permits, anything that's in progress of being a building permit, we get to add it, because we want to make sure that we count every person.
Exactly.
And what that means to the town, I don't want to belabor this, but it's almost $5 million. You know, the sales tax runs the town of Wheatfield. And Deb Carr just gave us a spreadsheet today from the county. We got about $20,000 more. So our sales tax is still going up. Once they see our population increase, I think our sales tax is going to go up a lot more. Because they took 2 of our census tracts that they I don't know how they created census tracts, but they took 2 of them and created 5 out of 2 of them because we got so many people. So I think that's a good thing that we're increasing census tracts, because that means that our population is growing. Well, based on population, we get our percentage right from the county, and it's all based on population. And if our population increased by 2 or 3%, that's 3% more of how many million they get, which could translate to maybe a couple $100,000 more a year when we start getting it. So I just giving you enough front that we're going to be knocking on your door a lot. And
No problem.
Just keep track of whatever building permits, because it's very important that we count everyone.
Not a problem.
Mike, it seems like you're having a good year as far as building permits.
Yeah, numbers are up. You know, as far as where we look at the last couple of years, we've been kind of status quo. You know, we've 30, 35 the last couple of years. We already see we're at a pretty good number already and we're not even at the halfway point. So at this way, if you projected, we could be in that 40 to 50 range. If it keeps going at the way it's going. And there's still, you know, with the subdivisions that are coming up or opening, you know, I think that's going to be helpful. I think that was it one on I can't remember in the Brookshire, Wheatfield, whatever it is on the ward that's going to be opening up. What's still going on over at the Selena Court, that area. So there's still a lot of, and the LaSalle project and Eagle. So
Okay,
I think
good.
we have a lot of room for it yet.
Good, thank you. Anybody have anything for Mike? Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Bridget is off on sick leave. And how about the constables, Brian?
Yeah, just a few things. All the constables this past Saturday spent 8 hours at the Nair gun range. So we started off the morning with a review of Article 35 and had to take a test on that. Then we moved on to a refresher of the ASP baton training and also a refresher of OC spray. And then we had to spend a few hours in the on the range to qualify with the firearms. So a full day spent in training this past Saturday. Besides that, you heard about the 5K. We already have a number of constables lined up to make sure that event is goes off well, safe to the runners. Besides that, do have I'm trying to think of any events coming up. We have there's a church gospel revival at the Lions Club. Every year we provide security for that, so that'll be coming up. I don't have the date on it. It's in a few weeks, so we'll be there for that. I've been tasked with setting up any of the community events. So if there's anything out there that's going on that our presence is we could just show up to say hi, or if there's something that needs to be done, just reach out to me. But that's about it right now.
Brian, thank you for your efforts and the constable department for their professionalism. Greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Arlene.
And Tim Zuber is done, and we'll now go into our motions with our attorney, Matt Brooks.
Okay, first motion, Highway Department to approve the purchase and installation of security cameras inside and outside the Highway Department from PDM Services for the total cost of $8,875, which is the lowest responsible quote of 4 quotes received. Said expenses will be paid from the Highway Department's 2019 budget.
Motion, gents? So moved. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion, to request an audit service agreement from Troy and Banks of Rochester, New York, with regard to their conducting of a contingency fee cable franchise audit regarding the Time Warner cable franchise agreement in effect with the town of Wheatfield. If said agreement meets town board and town attorney approval, the town board may approve the agreement at a subsequent Wheatfield Town Board meeting to authorize Troy and Banks to conduct said audit. The motion does not bind the town of Wheatfield to proceed forward with the Troy and Banks cable franchise audit and solely requests a service agreement for further review by the town board.
So moved. Motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Yep.
We did this, it came up kind of weird, because we had a gentleman on Town Line Road that wanted to know why I live in Wheatfield, why was my Time Warner cable bill so high? And went through several months, maybe a half a year or more, to finally gave me this bill. I looked at it, I said, you're right, we live on the Wheatfield side of Time Warner, not on the Townsend side of Time Warner. So I checked a few more of the bills, and come to find out there's several people on the Town Line Road to Wheatfield that were resident. So we went around and around with Time Warner trying to find out how many more residents there were. From the house, if it's a deal $20,000 in water, no matter how many houses are out of the filter. And it turned out that we were up $18,000, and we got the cash from Time Warner, over about a 2 or 3 year period, but they were not cooperative at all. I wanted to get a listing of the record, and they came into town hall, and 2 big Xerox boxes of paper. I said, here you go, here's 2 boxes of paper, you want to have a record, give it up. Well, I said, okay, and I went through them all, and I found almost $18,000 worth of errors. Now, hopefully it was Troy Bank, this Wendell company, maybe they got a little bit better way of giving us client information from Time Warner, especially, but it was a royal pain that I had to go through and do this like 15 years ago. But, I suspect we're still doing the same thing. I mean, we're sending the cable bill to the Wheatfield address, and they used to charge in the cable price for a long time. And we get, I don't know the exact number, but it's 200,000 plus, right? So it's got something, it's a big amount.
It's 5% of their gross revenues from the town, so.
But, they can get it, I mean, I guess we gotta take a look and see what they can do, what percentage they want, what kind of fee. So if we get $10,000, if they get 20%, that's like $2,000, if they get 20%.
Awesome.
That's all I have.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion is to schedule a public hearing on the first day of July 2019 regarding local law, at least at this point, number 4, 2019, making amendments to Chapter 41 of the Wheatfield Town Code entitled Terms of Office to amend the length of the term of office of the town supervisor as indicated below in summary abstract form. And that is, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield, Niagara County, New York as follows. That in accordance with the provisions of Municipal Home Rule Law, Section 20, Subdivision 5, a public hearing be held at the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield at the Town Auditorium at 2800 Church Road, North Tonawanda, New York, 14120, on July 1st, 2019, at 7 p.m. to consider enacting Local Law 4 of 2019, amending Chapter 14 of the Code of the Town of Wheatfield entitled Terms of Office to amend the length of the term of the Office of Town Supervisor, such local law being annexed hereto and made a part of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the town clerk of the town of Wheatfield is hereby authorized and directed to publish said notice of the time and place of such hearing at least 10 days in advance of such time in the town newspapers of record, which has a general circulation in the town. And be it further resolved this resolution takes effect immediately.
Motion, please.
Move.
Second?
Question?
Yep.
So if we have our public hearing, I'm just trying to get a timetable here, Matt.
Yes.
So if we have a public hearing on July 1st, what happens next?
The public hearing and the enactment, we would have to, after the public hearing, if it's determined to go forward with it, we would have to enact the local law. That local law has to be enacted, and this type of local law is subject to a mandatory referendum. So the law would have to be passed at least 60 days prior to the date of the referendum, which typically is the date of the election. So we would anticipate in Wheatfield at our local election also having a referendum on the ballot.
So that would be
for
at
this.
the November general election?
Correct.
So, and if it's successful, say it gets that far to November 5th, I don't know what the day is.
It's the 5th, I think it is.
Okay, so on November 5th, if it passes, then what happens?
Then this form of enacting it this way, it is, of course, we filed, it already would have been filed, the local law, but we will then, the term, at the next term, starting January 1st, will be for 4 years for the town supervisor instead of 2. But the timetable is public hearing, following a public hearing, if so desired, enactment of the local law, which has to be 60 days before the mandatory referendum date.
Thank you.
We had a motion. Did we get a second on that? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You guys wanna set that public hearing for the first meeting in July?
Yeah, that's why I put in there July 1st. I put 7. I don't know if you wanna do it before, earlier. I suggested 7, but
Yeah,
it's
7
up-
o'clock's fine.
Okay. All right, next motion from the Recreation Department for the town of Wheatfield to host the fireworks display at Oppenheim Park on Thursday, July 4th, 2019. The display is to be performed by Skylighters with a cost of $10,000. Approval of performing display would be contingent upon them being in compliance with all necessary rules and regulations and having them all proper proof of federal and state certifications. Additionally, said approval of performance by Skylighters is conditioned upon them having proper insurance required by the town and naming the town as an additional insured. It is also authorized for the Recreation Department Director, Mike Rinaldi, to vouch for the amount so that upon successful completion of the display, payment can be made.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and then we had one late supplemental motion from the Highway Department, which is to authorize the purchase of 180 feet of 48-inch pipe needed for Walmore Road repaving in the approximate amount of $10,000 at the county bid price. The expenditure will be from drainage account G8540.0400.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and that's no further motions.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Board members, Larry Hellwig.
Two things. How's beef removal going? I forgot to ask you when you.
I got one thing we got stuff there, but we're good.
Yeah. So hopefully it's gonna start getting. Last year there wasn't as many as there was this past year.
We should have it for
Okay.
the one that, last year I had one that was really hot,
Just so everybody doesn't know, we hire a person to remove geese. It's actually a dog that basically keeps them out, right? The other thing we had a very successful, it was in the Tribune, Liberty Drive cleanup on May 4th. Unfortunately, on about May 6th or 7th, somebody took a whole trailer load. There had to have been, I don't know, like 30 or 40 pieces of electronics. Everything from large televisions to flat screens to computers, computer monitors, printers. Somebody dumped a pile load of them there. Like 2 days after they cleaned up, I mean, we had Precious Plate actually sponsored that event, and there's a gentleman, the president of the company, calling me and emailing me, "You guys just cleaned it up. What's all this stuff doing here?" I don't know how we stop it. I mean, we talked to the supervisor today. We got a couple of ideas. I called Dawn Kim. She's the person in charge of Niagara County Waste, and she oversees all of our garbage contracts, recycling contracts, and we would kind of leverage. She kind of does pricing and contract, get the best price and everything. I sent her pictures of everything that was there. They're trying to get Albany to change the rules, because right now, town of Wheatfield takes electronic recycling, but not every town in Niagara County does. City of Niagara Falls doesn't, I don't think. And the stores don't. It's like motor oil. If you buy a quart of motor oil, you can take it back to any store. All your old motor oil, you can take it back there. But if you buy a television set, you can't take it back to the place you bought the television set, Orville's or wherever you go, because they have no responsibility for the old ones. So people are leaving them out the curb, and Dawn thought it might be not a bad idea. Sometimes people put them out the curb and they leave them there for 2 or 3 weeks, figuring sooner or later Modern Disposal is going to take this television. Well, they don't. Maybe, I don't know who'd have to get a Modern to do this, but maybe on garbage day, if there's a monitor or something sitting at the curb, maybe we need to put a sticker on them saying, take it to the water sewer department. That's the only way to get rid of them. You can't just keep leaving them out the curb, because kids are going to drive by and throw rocks at them and break the screens. And Dawn says once they break the monitor, Rich, you can't take them anymore, can you? Yeah, I mean, we're paying like 15 cents a pound for an old television or an old computer that's intact. If you break the screen, we're paying 7 times that amount because now it's hazardous waste. Checking with, trying to see how we can fix this. I sent an email to our prosecutors and our judges to see if there's how much are we paying fine-wise? And Matt Brooks, what did you tell me the fines were right now?
Well, when it comes to, council, there's, up to $500, I believe, in 15 days of jail. When it comes to, I think I made a suggestion that we want to check with Roger Thompson, our chief constable, if he's from the DEP officer, there may be, possibility of state law, but it wasn't something serious, that we'd rather try to make some more serious,
Well, I'd like to propose for maybe next meeting or the meeting after if you could, I'd like to increase the fine, because I think the only way to break this thing is to publicize in the papers, this person got arrested for doing this, or the town of Wheatfield's enacting stronger electronic waste. People see that, and maybe they'll go to a different town, but we want to just keep them out of our town for right now, because they're dumping all over the place. 102nd Street, I think supervisor got a call that after the Cub Scouts were done, they wanted to know when they're coming over there to pick up our street. But I don't know. Until you get some bad press on a couple of these people getting fined $1,000 or something.
We'll probably have to have a public hearing if we're gonna change the law as far as fines go, correct?
I'd like to increase it only because even if it's only a nickel, just so that we get the press on it, so that people see that, town of Wheatfield, increasing the fines.
And we did try and trace the equipment that was out there, but it was not traceable. There was identification numbers, but nothing that would indicate where it came from.
I know last year, I think Paul Sigmund, people were throwing old roofing and stuff away. They had their receipt from the new roofing in the garbage.
Yeah.
And I think they nailed a couple of the people because they left their names and addresses right in the bag they were trashing. That was an easy catch. This one wasn't so easy.
No.
What about like a trail can or something?
We're talking about
that.
And then that way,
we don't want to.
We're trying not to publicize it.
well, I mean, I think it's okay if you have the trail cam up, then you can put up signs that hey, you're being watched. Right?
Yeah.
And
We just don't want to talk too much about the camera because somebody's going to take it down.
I mean, we may have the constables. They're doing this under the skies of night and darkness too. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been 20 years. I've been going out at trying to catch illegal property. There's a sign when you turn off of Williams. I thought it was more like 500, but it tells you what sign is right on the sign for dumping. You turn off the road. And we tried. We're out there all the time. I know I go late at night, but
That's a mess.
hit and miss. So we have in the past. We've caught, we've fined a few on Jago tracks. It's been a bunch in my 20 years that we caught. It's just so hard. Tires, I think they just drive and just throw them out. Tires and all these electronic computers. There's always tires, hot water tanks. Always
I know Dawn Tim through the governor's office, and she's trying to get multiple counties to petition Albany to try to get some relief from electronic recycling because not everybody's following the rules. We've got a good program in place, but we're probably a couple. I don't know how many towns. You know how many towns are doing that, Rich? No, there's not many.
Anything else? Okay, Larry. Thank you. Gil Doucette.
Got a correspondence from Burkles Fire Hall. Burkles would like to add the following people to their membership: Thomas Bowen and Brian Mann. And I'll make that motion.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And that's it.
Thanks, Gil. Kurt Doctor.
We've got a task force meeting coming up this Thursday, the 23rd, at the Community Center at 6:30. One of our big items on the agenda for this week is going to be our build-out group, which looks at sustainability and current status of development, future status of development, with the aim of controlling taxes and just making sure that we're thinking about development in our planning moving forward, has put together, based on all their research over the past couple years, a really nice report that's going to be delivered as a recommendation to the town board. So that's exciting that we're able to deliver that. And the second thing is we do have 2 focus group members that we're going to be celebrating a 5-year volunteer achievement. Those 2 members are Julie Otto and Joe Malloy. Julie is a member of our Ag focus group, so 5 years of service, so thank you to Julie. And Joe Malloy, who has been serving on the Energy Application focus group, also has 5 years, so thank you to Joe. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Kurt. Randy?
Agricultural group where Paul called me last week. I stopped over and spent 2 hours with him, and he has a lot of time. He's retired, and he's trying to figure out how many acres of tillable soil we have in the town of Wheatfield. So we're going to go out Saturday at 6:30 in the morning, and believe it or not, he thinks there's like 3,000 acres of tillable soil. I looked at Paul. I said, Paul, what's this going to tell you? He says, really? He says, nothing other than information. So we're going to go out. He's trying to just put some numbers together for the agricultural group as to how many tillable acres there are in the town. And, with that, I come up Lockport Road yesterday, and I go down Walmart Road, and I go down Niagara Falls Boulevard, and I go down Williams. And I said this at the task force meeting last week. I have a problem with the dumping. And what used to be in the late 70s, early 80s was all farmland, all beautiful wheat fields. And it's just, there's so much, as somebody else told me, you can't stop somebody from getting free soil. And someday just take that ride. Sunday morning it's quiet out. You just drive and just look there. And there's a lot of space that used to be farmland, beautiful, beautiful area. It's just really nothing. Walmart and Lockport, at least they put the storage unit. That's sat there with cattails and rocks. But I guess that's my pet peeve. And I said that at the task force meeting last week when I was there. It's just not the way I think we should have it looking. And I don't know the answer. And then that building at Bell Aerospace still bothers me with their roof, David. And I don't know where. No, I'm just looking at the Summer Park Mall, and I don't know what's ever going to happen there. I don't know where we go or what we do. But I wish I had an answer. I'm just pointing out something that really bothered me. But I started on the tillable soil, and that's just a little interesting. As Paul, he's really into what he's doing, and I'm trying to help him in. That's all I have.
Thank you, Randy. Just as a note, I see they've moved equipment in to the buildings that are being demolished. Do you know it?
Yeah, with regard to those 2 fallen buildings over from Bell Aerospace, demolition permits have been pulled. They have a contractor, so they expect to start demolition of those 2 buildings shortly.
I see them moving in.
I didn't see that, but good.
The 2 huge backhoes that I saw.
Yeah, state highway with the airport there, you'd think something would be able to lure something in there.
We have them in town for supply water building inspection violations. They were trying to get some federal loan money to take it down. That didn't pan out, so they're doing it on their own dime right now.
And in addition, while we're talking about this, I'm meeting with a company, and I can't relay the name, and I promise not to, related to Bell Aircraft, let's put it that way. And also, I'm meeting with the owner of the mall who just also purchased Sears. He had the right of first refusal, and he purchased Sears, and I'm going to meet with them sometime in the next 2 weeks. And from what I understand, and we've heard it before, there's some good things happening with the mall. And again, I've been asked not to say anything, but I've heard some very positive news as far as developments for Summer Park Mall. That's all I can say. And I guess I'm out of turn. No, I guess it's me. But also, our rain barrels and compost sale was very successful. We did put it on our website. We did have slingers, but we've had more people in the last couple of days say, well, why didn't we know about it? We did what we could do to advertise it. And I don't know what the final count was. We still have some rain barrels at the Recreation Department that are spoken for. But I'm guessing a couple hundred anyway went out. But a lot of the residents are coming up now and saying, well, gee, I wish I'd known about this. I would like to get some. But hopefully next year, Rich, maybe we could even do something in the mailing with the water department to residents about the rain barrels and the compost bins. But it was very successful. We were here Wednesday, night, Thursday night, and Saturday morning, and we passed out a ton of equipment. So people were happy with it, and then are hoping that we do it again next year. That's all I have, other than I did thank Mike again for his help. Greatly appreciated. Reminder, there is a department head meeting with a grants writer the 29th at 1 o'clock. Oh, Richie is still here. And according to Connie, she has something for everybody, so I hope everybody can attend it. And now I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss some contractual matters. Ed, can you come into the meeting? Okay. And Roger, would you come in also? And maybe a little bit of time if you'd like to wait, but yeah, we can do that. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Anyone would like any public input? Yes, Tom.
On Monday, everybody knows it's Memorial Day. The Legion will be putting on their memorial service in front of the town garage, which is known probably to everybody. However, what will be new this year, I've arranged with Paul to have the garage open where the helicopter work is being done. So we are inviting anybody who is at the memorial, please stop in and see the helicopter, see our progress. Our intention is to even have some lights on it, so it should show a lot. And again, everybody's invited.
Thank you, Jeff.
Pardon me? Yep. And the memorial service is about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and then you'll be invited in right after that.
Tom, would you make sure they have cones so that people can't wander in?
We're going to have it monitored well. Okay. We'll have some of our volunteers there as security, because I've talked to Paul about the issue of liability in the garage. We just want a small area where people can come in, look at one side of it, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be impressed.
Thank
you, Tom. Again, our next meeting will be June 3rd, 2019 at 7 o'clock, and we'll now go into executive session. Do I need a motion? A motion to go into executive session, please? A motion and a second?